everyone, it's Kanisha Ward with Crave Philosophy LLC. I am here today to bring you guys a video of navigating the revalidation tool via web. I posted a video of navigating the revalidation tool via cell phone, and I know that was kind of redundant because all of us are in a workflow where we're either at our home computers or work computers. So I wanted to show you all how to navigate that through online. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go to data.cms.gov, and I will just re-enter the site so we can see that populate back up. And then it'll bring you up to the same screen like we were just previously on. And the best thing to do is you're going to click over, because what we want to do is we want to get to the revalidation tool. Now, CMS has all these other cool tools, like you can look up hospitals, you can look up ordering and referring doctors, physician lookup, any physician you would like to see. But what we're doing for the sake of this video is navigating the revalidation tool. So now I want to use the tool. And this screen will populate the Medicare revalidation list. So this, as I stated, if you watched my previous video, I did tell you guys that Medicare only updates this site every 60 days. And that's a CMS standard. There's nothing we can do to change that just yet. So with that being said, this is the tool, and it's pretty much a data set online. And you can see here where it says download full data sets and things like that. And there's 3 different options here. But for this video, we're just going to search providers who have upcoming revalidations, because we want to get in a method of checking our revalidations prior to their expiration. We don't want it to be today's the 12th, January 12th, 2020, and my provider expires on January 31st, 2020. We want to already have his application in a Medicare, because if you do not know, Medicare takes 30 to 45 days to process any online applications. And if you are still using a manual process, and if you are still manual processing things, you may want to call me or email me, and I'll leave my information on either on the video or down below in the description box. So you just want to make sure you're ahead of the game and not at risk for losing any revenue. And I've been in several practices, and revalidations have always been an issue because Medicare revalidates anywhere between 3 to 5 years. It's not always at that 5-year mark. And we're in a time where the days and times are going by just so fast. So how do we keep up with those methods? And what we do is my firm, we keep up with the revalidations for you guys. So anyway, we'll just hop into the video, and I'm not going to pull up any provider in specific. I'm just going to randomly pull some providers, and we'll go over like 2 or 3 states just so you can kind of get the feel of what we were looking for. So for our first example, we're going to look for a provider. Let's see if we can. No, we don't want to do that. Let's just do the state. Let's just pick any state. I love California, so we will go with California. All right, so we only want to show here. There's the good thing about here is you can either search all records, only records with due dates, or records with due dates in the specific range. So I'll probably touch on both of them. If we want to look at all providers in California who has upcoming due dates, or Medicare has published a revalidation date for that provider, what Medicare does is if you are within 6 months of expiring, Medicare will update your revalidation date. they will update your revalidation date. So you just want to make sure you're keeping an eye on that, because we get so busy and things like this. If we have no method of tracking these type of things, so for my private practices, my larger healthcare organizations may or may not have a method in place for a tracking mechanism in place. So we just want to ensure that you are not at risk for losing any money coming through your doors. So, okay, let's go here. So now I'm looking at California, and I'm looking at matching providers with a due date. Now, these due dates are going to be, so let's see a provider who has a due date that's upcoming. So obviously when you see things like this, 12/31/2016, that often means that provider is most likely no longer working in that state, or just no longer practicing, or something of that nature. But we have a provider here, Jack Ammett. And if Jack Ammett, you were ever to watch this video, hi, and thank you for letting me use you as an example. Okay, so this provider is a clinical psychologist. As you can see here, his revalidation due date is 4/30. And the website was last updated on December 30th, 2019. So you can see that here, last updated date. All right, so we can see that Jack Ammett has one reassignment, and that's with the Department of State Hospitals, which is in California. So we know that his revalidation is due on 4/30/2020, and this date here, that's in reference to the hospital. That's when their revalidation was due. I don't know what's going on with that. They could be under another tax ID number. They could have never deactivated this record. There's so many things that could go on with why this due date is like that. But the purposes of this video, I'm just showing you how to navigate the tool. So if I see, okay, Dr. Jack Ammett is due for revalidation. You want to you either want to complete a paper application, or you want to navigate to the Paycos tool. So we'll navigate to Paycos. I believe it's paycos.cms. All right, so I already have it saved as a bookmark. So we'll navigate there. If you need the link is here, paycos.cms.hhs.gov should bring you up to this page. Or if not, when in doubt, just Google it, PECOS. So it'll bring you here. And this is where physicians will have to already have an established record, which you already do. If you have an NPI, you already have an established username and password for Paycos. It's all the same across the board for Paycos and for your NPI, as well as for your INA account. All those three websites link together, and so I'm glad that they did that, because I think a while back they weren't synonymous, and you had to have different logins for each of them, and it was really, really crazy. And this is another thing that, as a sidebar, this is another thing that I'll talk about in one of my other videos, setting up your multi-factor authentication. You'll have to do that by April 2020. So I'll make a video on how to do that. All right, so when it's time for your provider to revalidate, you want to navigate to the Paycos tool. And this is not a Paycos video, so I won't go in depth, but I'll just give you an overview of what it looks like. So if it is time for you to revalidate, and you're an individual provider, or if you're an organizational provider, you want to go to the individual provider tab. And Paycos has videos for you to watch. Have a video for you to watch. And if you already know your login information, you can put it in here. If you don't, you would need to do the forgot password. And that will then bring you up to the INA page, where you are able to reset your password to be able to log in. All right. So if you have, and you also can check the revalidation notice sent list. You can do that by checking here, in which it will still bring you to the data.cms.gov website that we were just on. All right. So you will log in here. And there's not much you can do on this page without your login information. And I don't want to log in because I have some proprietary information. But I don't think it will show on the login screen. So let's just see. If it does, I'll just blur out this video. I'll blur out any proprietary information. Okay, obviously I don't know my password. Oh, now I locked my account. Okay, so we won't go into the Paycos. We won't go into the Paycos login. I was just going to show you guys where if you had surrogacy, you would be able to see the revalidation notification center on all the providers that you are able to act on behalf of. So it wasn't a big thing. It is a big thing, but since I have to reset my account, that won't be helpful for you all. All right. So if you are still on a manual process and you need to complete the revalidation for your profile for your provider, then you would need to complete a form by the name of the 855I. All the revalidation is making sure you are still with those practices that are able to bill on your behalf, and it is also just revalidating information and making sure the information in your record is still current. So if you are on a manual process, you just would go into Google, search for the 855I, and if you are using Bing or anything else, just in the front of it, put CMS 855I, because sometimes those things could get a little funky and it doesn't know what you're talking about. So we'll do it like that, and then we'll go into it. So this is the form that you want to submit. I highly, highly, highly forbid using the paper application. One, it takes almost 3 weeks for it to get to Medicare and get accepted. So from the process, from the time you mail it off and get to Medicare, they have to key that information, find the provider. I mean, it's a tedious process. So I highly recommend you setting up your Paycos portal and providing, if you are an individual provider, providing surrogacy access for someone to act on your behalf, or just going in and completing that revalidation for you. You will be able, and completing that revalidation, you will be able to see all of that brought up to you once you are logged in. You'll be able to go to the revalidation notification center, which will be at the bottom of the screen once you log in. All right. So yeah, this is the 855I, and you would just complete this whole form. And there are 2 pages that need to be signed. I think it's 1 page. It's 1 page or 2 page? Yeah, it's 1 page. Sorry about that, guys. So that would be page 24 of the I-855I. You would sign here, and you would need to sign this in blue ink. Blue ink. Blue ink only. I haven't completed a paper application in I don't know how long, so I don't know if they're still requiring for the signatures to be live and not faxed over. I'm not sure. I have not completed a manual process in a while. So I would just call my MAC, which is your Medicare Administrative Contractor, and call them to see if they are still accepting paper signatures. But if I am not mistaken, they won't even take paper signatures anymore. So you'll want to figure out the Medicare electronic signature process. All right, so I don't want this video to be long and drawn out. Just remember to always check your revalidations by going to data.cms.gov. And if you are a credentialer or a consultant or even a billing representative or the provider completing your revalidation on your own, then you want to navigate here data.cms.gov and find the revalidation tool link. If you know your MPI by memory, then you can type in your MPI here and it will locate you and find you. So that's all I have for you guys today. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment in the description box. I will leave a link. If you do not know whom your Medicare administrative contractor is, I will leave a link below in the description box. If you have any questions, my information will also be in the description box. Thank you guys. Have a great day and have an amazing week.